Hello and welcome back. I'm Joe Hyde. I'm with San Angelo Live, and sitting with me to my immediate right is City Councilman Tom Thompson, SMD, what, one, two? SMD 2. So the reason you got to understand why we brought Tom Thompson on, he represents the north side. The north side, right?
North Chadbourne and Lakeview.
And then my co-host, of course, on my far right, Yantis screen, he's the senior sage of San Angelo politics now. Since you're on, we bring you on when we're a political show.
Well, when you hang around long enough, you pick stuff up.
Well, Tom Thompson, you had a city council meeting today.
It was a long council meeting today. We had roughly 4 pages of agenda items, and it was we covered some very important topics today, as far as health care for the some of the legacy employees. We covered some property acquisitions. We covered some leases and things that will help us. We actually acquired some property over by McNeese here for future development. So we had a very long agenda. We were done about 1 o'clock, walked out of there, but I think when it's all done, everybody left there happy.
All right.
Great.
Just to remind you, we're broadcasting live from the Arc Light Bar and Grill. We're inside the Clarion Hotel, 441 Rio Concho. You're welcome to come down here. The beer's cheap and the TVs are plentiful here. You cover the to watch the election returns. One of the things I covered some of this. You had you had people who retired before 2000. I'm just making it very simple. That they saw their Medicare Advantage rates go way up
Because of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022.
So this is something that the Inflation Reduction Act is something that Kamala Harris was very, very proud of.
Well, and they bought down rates, and they used IRS funding to buy those things down, and they terminated. And when they did, all of these rates jumped. I mean, several 100% that we saw.
So for 2 years after they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, they kept the rates down by giving a lot of federal money to it.
Absolutely.
And in year 3, they said, you're on your own. Go negotiate your own stuff.
Well, and it came as a very sudden surprise. I mean, we got a quote one day from our insurance company, and it was going to cost the city nearly, I think it was in the ballpark of a tad over $400,000. That was just here's what it is.
Just put this in perspective. How much were you paying for it before?
Oh, we'd expected like a 2% jump per year, something like that.
So
It was,
100 grand, 200 grand?
oh no, the added cost was nearly 400,000.
Okay, added costs on top of that. And to put that into perspective for someone who lives in the city of San Angelo, that's about a half cent on your property tax.
Oh, it was huge. And what was important was these are a lot of the employees that worked for the city prior to 2000 and had been there 20, 30 years for it. We had several of them speak at public comment this morning. And what had always been communicated to them was, as long as you work here, because they adjusted the salary, living in a rural area like we did, it didn't match what other people did, but they said, you will have health insurance for life.
So you basically said, if you stay with us,
Yes.
we'll give you this little benefit. But back then, that benefit didn't cost a whole lot of money to the city, but probably would cost a lot of money if someone bought it individually.
Well, and it's one of those things that had increased, according to Brian Kendrick, who's done a wonderful job on this.
And he's the HR director.
HR director.
Right.
Brian had seen a 2%, 1, 2, 3% increase year over year. And it's things like that you can work into your budget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no surprises. When they come up and, the thing with the municipal budget, people don't understand it has to be balanced.
Right.
All right. And when you
Can't print any money?
No, you can't.
No San Angelo bucks?
There's no San Angelo bucks. And when they came and they showed that, I mean, it was just like, there was wondering, how do you ever deal with that? It's kind of like saying you're going to take care of your kids for life, but you realize at some point in time, your kids are going to leave college and go on, and they're going to have to be on their own. In this case, no. I mean, these legacy employees have been part of our system, and they worked for us when they maybe should have went somewhere else.
They could have gone to Frisco, for example.
I worked in a pharma company, and people stayed at that company just because they had health care for life after 30 years. These people were before, and council stepped up. There was lots of communication. I had never had any one topic that was communicated to me as much as the emails and phone calls I got with this.
But one of the things that I saw when I was covering this whole issue was it seemed like the entire council was against spending any more money on it. They certainly didn't want to spend $400,000 on covering this. They were wanting the seniors to step up and pay. I think they're paying $24.50 a month or something like that.
$20.44 a month.
Is that what it's?
It was. It used to be zero, and they took an increase, and
but they were looking for more contribution from the retirees.
That was a discussion area. It'd be great to. I mean, we have trouble funding our own public safety. I mean, at this point, all of your tax dollars that go in and pay.
And when you say public safety, for those that live in Grape Creek, it means, I'm going to get in trouble, Yantis. You're supposed to step in there.
Public
boy.
safety, fire department, police
Yeah,
department.
fire department and police department, that's the reason why the city exists, and the water department, I guess.
Right, and I mean, but those things, so you look at these costs as they come to you and you try to juggle them all the way to the end, and every year, it's, you only negotiate them for 1 year. And
Right.
you have to do another budget, it's a negotiation every year of how you kind of.
And if you give the police officers, if you give the police officers a raise, fire department is looking at you with those puppy dog eyes going, what about us?
Well, I think they ask you to be fair, say you're going to treat us fairly all the way across the board, you have to do that.
Right, so it's
I
a
mean-
balancing act every year.
Absolutely, every year, but
Is that why the city tax rate is almost going to exceed the San Angelo ISD tax rate?
well.
What is up with that?
Well, so you got me there, I don't know exactly, but we're lower than when I came on 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so it's gone down because of the state
It's
3.5
gone down,
limit,
it's gone down like .006.
and it was driven down by a government, pretty much you're limited at 3.5%.
Yeah, unless
And
you
we
wanna have
kept
an
it there.
election, yeah.
Right, and we kept it as low as we could, and
Right.
still lower than when I started 7 years ago.
So you're at .776, something like that this year, I can't remember.
It was, but now we're .554, I think, maybe.
Oh, are you back to .554?
Maybe, don't hold me to that one. Joe, don't try to get me, all right?
I'm not gonna try to get you, but the school district used to be at $1.21, and now they're like 81 cents.
That one's a hard one. My wife works for the school district, and the watching Proposition, Prop A move forward, it sure has got a lot of press.
So Prop A is the proposal that's on the ballot. We'll have the results from that. I don't see it, but we got Banda and Paul Harris working the results, and it looks like Banda's staring at his phone. Maybe something's happening, but we got numbers? No numbers yet? So our elections office is slow, but it's a county function, so we can't blame our city councilman for it.
Vonna does wonderful. I mean, I think our county election group is better than anybody's. I mean,
Yeah.
I listen to other people talk, and we go in. I voted over on Riverside, walked in, voted in and out. They were helping a lady in and out with a wheelchair, ADA, I mean, downtown. But historically, even watching when Lane came in, those results were coming, well, you were there.
Yeah.
We had those as fast as anybody.
PTSD now.
Oh, yeah.
You got me PTSD.
Well, and it's a big election. I mean, record turnout right now, so.
Well, remember the 2020 election, Vonna took till after midnight, and no one was singing her praises. You remember that?
Well, yeah, and that wasn't there were a lot of reasons for that.
What were the reasons? I don't even remember.
Well, I don't either, but
Well, I would say this on Vonna, I guarantee it'd be very accurate. I mean, before she lets it go, it'd be pretty accurate.
And the other thing is they keep changing, they keep increasing the strictness and how many people have to escort that ballot box. I mean, the ballot boxes have become like carrying around the nuclear codes. You got to have two people, and I mean, you can't.
Well,
that
and
kind of
there's,
thing.
Tom Green County probably has a very sizable amount of military people that are going to vote, and they have to vote by a secret ballot.
Right.
But my son,
You mean by absentee ballot?
absentee.
Right.
But it has to come in a secret envelope.
Right.
And so my son's at Colorado Springs, so he has to put his in a specific envelope to get it down here. So it's not something that's easy as give me a sheet of paper and let it go.
Like it is up north.
You know what? So we hear.
well, and you're right, and if all we have to do is look back at the primary election in March when Ralph Hosher and Michelle DeRusso ran, and it was one vote.
One vote.
So Ralph Holscher won that by one vote, and they recounted
And it
it.
was recount, and it was still that one vote.
Right.
So it's 100% accurate, and
And
hats off to
they
Vonna
also
too.
had Bingham had the constable race against Gary Cole.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was about 80 votes apart, and they recounted, and it came within a couple votes of what the original count was. So, very good job by the elections
Well,
office.
you can't have an election any closer than the Russo election.
No.
Right.
Now I wonder if Holscher is going to be able to hold off Danny Cardenas. What do you think? You think he's going to happen? You're a North Side guy there, Tom, and you're a Politico. Tell me.
So Danny has been a political figure here for years. I mean, going back into the 90s, Danny has run for certain positions.
Yep.
Don't ever count Danny out because Danny has a very strong group that supports him. But then again, Ralph just
Ralph?
Nobody is, I don't know, let me ask Lane from the crowd, how many years has Ralph been there? I have no idea. I think forever, probably.
20 years he's been there?
Yep.
You know, I got a Ralph Holscher impression. Can I do it? Can I do it? Oh, it's good. It's good. You know, I watched him run against. I mean, this is his third election I've seen and covered it. But I'm going to give you the Ralph Holscher political campaign speech. Well, everybody wants to cut taxes, but can't cut taxes because if you cut taxes, you got to go cut the library. Nobody wants to cut the library, so then you can't cut taxes, and pretty much the state tells you what to do. And then you go back and you say, I got to cut some more taxes. Then the only way to go is to get into law enforcement. That's what he says, it, law enforcement.
And whatever that be, he's probably right.
And you can't cut the law enforcement because nobody wants to cut the law enforcement. So pretty much you can't do anything as a county commissioner.
So he's,
That's Ralph Holscher right there.
he did that. So he ran against, who was it last time? Kerry Houston?
I
Yes.
remember.
I think he ran against
Yeah,
Kerry
he
last
ran
time.
against Kerry.
And Ralph's just kind of that staple that's been there for quite a while.
Yantis, tell me why Ralph Holscher is so
Ralph
famous.
Holscher has won every race because for the last 28 years, he has handed out to-go plates at the Wall Fall Festival at St. Ambrose. So,
So he's a good Catholic.
They serve 3,000 to 5,000 meals a day on that Sunday, and everybody that walked up and got a to-go plate, he handed it to them. So that was Ralph Holscher.
Personally handing the turkey
personally
plate to
handing you a
everyone
turkey
that comes to
dressing
St.
and
Ambrose.
sausage plate for 28 years.
And he was
So-
there this time. I was there it was last month, and he was there, I think. He wasn't handing out plates, but he was there.
Yeah.
And he
I was
made
there
a
too.
walkthrough.
Yeah.
You had to walk through the St. Ambrose Festival.
And he'll
I haven't seen you there, Tom.
And I'm Methodist hanging out over at First.
Oh, got you. The Methodist thing. You can't go to a Catholic church? What's up with that?
We go there and buy lots of sausage and hang out.
There you go.
We do.
There you go.
It's always a fundraiser. So Bacon's up, isn't he?
Bacon's up.
Who's Bacon's opponent?
Bacon is going up against your nemesis, Mercedes de la Cruz.
You know what? Mercedes ran against me the last election. Her and C. Rangel, and two of the nicest people I have ever campaigned with.
You mean it wasn't a nasty campaign?
You know what? The three of us had a great time whenever we were
You know,
campaigning for SMD2.
If y'all were running for police chief, it'd be a completely different story.
You know what? It might be. It might be. But no, Mercedes is, I think she came from Big Lake, and she's always been very interested. Is she the Democratic chair now?
She was. She's not anymore.
Yantis has the stats on Mercedes. I don't have any stats
Well,
on it.
she hasn't spent any money on the campaign, and she doesn't have a social media presence, so it's more of a, we needed a Democrat name on the ballot. And that's where she is.
So basically, Rick Bacon's in trouble.
Well,
I
no.
think he'll be okay.
I think Rick will be okay, and I think Ralph will be okay too. And that's the other part about Danny Cardenas is he's done the same thing he did 20 years ago, which is he bought yard signs and he bought 4x4s,
Right.
the big signs, and he put those out. No minimal social media presence
Minimal effort.
and minimal door to door.
He's going to disagree with us.
So-
He's going to say, man, I put my heart and soul into this campaign.
Well, and
I put up-
but he ran like he did 20 years ago,
Gotcha. So
and it's a different ballgame.
so he hasn't played the digital marketing game very well.
Right.
Oh, that's coming so important now. I mean, if you don't have a digital plan and a digital presence,
Yep.
I don't think so many of us get our news off of a media agency or social media, either one. You go there.
I don't know about me. I get mine out of the comments on San Angelo Live.
And you do take a beating quite often, Joe. and-
I'm always getting beat on. That's not fair.
Right, but
I have the best Ralph Holscher impression ever.
You know, it's great. Yours and Yantis and all us about the local and state and national issues is just dwarfs me.
Well, thank
all
you.
right?
Thank
And y'all do a wonderful job of it.
I don't know if it's that good.
Well, I mean, you run a free news agency, all right? So you have to get clicks. People want to come here. You do things that interest. And I will tell you, of the people that I've heard, sometimes gripe about it, when you look at where they go on their phone, it's San Angelo Live
Yep.
to get the quickest news.
Yeah, and it's not necessary to get the clicks is what it is. If you spend, every article you write, I talked to Yantis about this many times. Every article you write is like writing a book report. And you remember how boring book reports were in school? So if you want to write a boring book report, or do you want to write something that someone's going to read? Right? So I tell people, let's write something that people are going to read. because every story has a dynamic fashion or dynamic angle
know,
to it. And I give you an example, city council. A couple years ago, you had that Concho Princess. It was going to be a steamboat. It was going to give tours of the Concho of Lake Nasworthy.
Yes.
And they needed the city to give them docking space there at Mary E. Lee Park. So the guy who was going to have this steamboat had to come before city council and grovel and say, please give me a lease for $1 a year, whatever it was. And it was not that was going to be it. He had a nice PowerPoint display. The city council went to sleep. They were going to vote for it. And then they had opened it up for public comments. And this big rough guy comes up and he says, I'm Captain so-and-so and I run Concho's Cruises. And I want to know why the city council's trying to put me out of business. This guy's stealing my name. He's doing the same thing I'm doing. And you're going to give him a dock space for $1. I'm paying $600 a month. What the heck, you know? So we got a little discussion about that and ended up having to change the guy's name. But the story, if you were the Standard Times or some boring journalist, you say, city council considers boat dock lease. You know, that's how they said. No, that was not what the story was. The story was it was a cruise boat war on Lake Nasworthy. Now, would you read the former one about the, dock lease, or would you read about the cruise boat war? And if I'm going to spend 5 hours writing that story and producing it, do I want you to read it, or do I want you to just go, oh, that's a stupid headline? I'm not going to see it.
Oh, you want people to read it.
I want people to read it. And then the other thing is, I always say, if you look at voter participation, ever since I showed up, voter participation is up. Because we've expanded the number of people interested in politics, which is very small. There's only about 3,000 people who care about city council politics. Maybe I've expanded to 3,300.
Well, if you want to take credit for all of that,
I will.
I'm
I'll
right
take
there with you,
100%
Joe.
credit.
You're more than
What do
happy.
you think, Yantis? Should we take credit for that?
We certainly make them more aware of it, I guess.
Well, Yantis covered the county commissioner's court like a glove. I mean, couldn't get by. He'd always had something up there about that. I don't know. That's my point. If you're going to write it, why would you write something for someone not to see it?
Well, and it's amazing how many people do watch that. I mean, you'll be somewhere, somebody will come up and go, I watched you on TV about this council meeting. And I'm like going, what? I mean, do you watch that? Because I'll try to recall the agenda and go, I don't think there was anything on there that was that riveting. But if you wanted to watch it, and so the nicest guy in the world is Kermit Windland. And Kermit works up at the Stockton Rodeo Station.
And you're a former rodeo guy, so he probably gives you the no kidding inside take on what he sees.
You know what? Kermit will leave me a message about once every quarter and go, you know what, Tom, I watched that council meeting and I really appreciate what you do and taking one for the team there and go. And you hang up the phone after that message, you're like going, that is one of the best people God has ever put on this earth, but he's an outstanding person. But you never realize how many people are watching the news and the media. It's like tonight. I don't know any election that has had as much publicity or I would say spin about it. And it started a week ago. I mean, when did the lawsuit start? Last week? I mean, they were already filed 19 lawsuits on, basically election integrity.
Right.
So it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And
So is Trump going to win?
I don't think we'll know till Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, stop. We can't be here until Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, I know we can't.
Although we'd sell a lot of beer.
We'd sell. So, so let's say Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada are going to be your swings.
Yeah.
So they're saying that Kamala might be able to get I would say the majority of the vote.
I thought it was Kamala.
Anyway, it may be. It may be.
I can't remember which way it is. Yeah, Banta, is it Kamala or Kamala?
I say Kamala.
Kamala? Okay.
But they're saying Trump may have a way to 270, depending on some of these swing states. And everything I get off, the majority of my education comes from my wife.
Okay.
And
Is
Carla,
she here?
Carla was not going to make it tonight because she has to go. And I invited her, you want to go? She said, no, you're on your own, buddy. I said, okay. But she will give me a coaching on the session tomorrow.
Well, listen, we have a lot of room to cover here. I just saw Lane Carter walk in. He's in the back somewhere. And also, we're going to have Dr. Taylor Kingman on.
Awesome.
So with that, Yantis, you want to go on to the next one? Let's get old Lane Carter up here. Put him in a sandwich.
We can do that.
What do you think? Thank y'all very much.
Absolutely.
Tom Thompson. appreciate you.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
feel
Mayor.
like the Friday Night Live, Saturday Night Live.
God, if we could be Saturday Night Live, I would be all about that.
This election make you want to become a Democrat? You're going to switch
No,
parties,
nope.
kind of like the mayor of Dallas went from Democrat to Republican. You're out here in the Republican district. Maybe you can go from Republican to Democrat.
Not at all, no.
No way, huh? No way.
Just the party lines do not follow suit of my beliefs.
Not at all. So what's going on in Tom Green County?
We've been doing a lot. The last 2 years, we've been really focusing on the retention problem, getting the pay scales up to where we don't have to continuously have overturning employees. We worked with the pay raises to keep up with the inflation, while also maintaining a decent tax rate, because all it is we're providing services, and those services have to be provided from the ad valorem taxes, which is property taxes from the citizens. So
Well, you also get some sales tax revenue.
we
too.
get a little bit, 12 million, 13 million of sales tax, but it's out of a $66 million budget.
I'm
And a
still
third of that.
I'm still waiting for you to attract a Buc-ee's to Christoval.
Well, you know what? When we get those two interstates coming through,
Maybe you'll get a Buc-ee's or
it
two.
might be closer into the talks of getting a Buc-ee's.
You really want the Buc-ee's out in the county so you can deny the city that money, right?
Yeah, just bring it to the county.
Probably be in the field off of 208 right about now. It's what-
Yeah, 208. I voted off of 208 today. I think it was Armstrong. in the
Robert Lee
same-
Highway.
Yeah. That's where I voted this morning.
The Calvary Church, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good,
Well-
good location, good voting
Because
location.
I was writing the story last night about where to vote and stuff, and I was looking at all the polling locations, and I said, if I'm gonna have to vote, I don't want to wait in line at TxDOT or at Angelo Bible Church. Those are the real crowded
Right,
ones.
right.
So I was wondering which one was going to be the least crowded. So I sent 3 options to Pfluger for him to go. I said, you need to do some outreach, and he said, I'll go to Calvary. I got texted this morning, so we met there, and he was waving signs. I went and voted. It took me like 5 minutes.
I did mine early.
Yeah,
You never
I
know what's
voted.
going to happen on the day of, so you can have, you can come down with a stomach bug and be.
Oh, come
You know what?
on.
I did mine early. I did mine 2 Fridays ago.
You want to know a funny story that involves war and voting?
Okay.
You know, back in the day, we used to have to bomb Iraq every 6 months or so. Whenever Saddam Hussein got mad, and one day, when those bombing times, they said we're going to destroy the barracks for this university where they're teaching WMD. So you imagine all these students there on a Sunday night, and they're sitting around going, should I do my laundry now or should I wait till tomorrow? And you know, the guy that waited till tomorrow won because they all got blown up that night. And he didn't get a chance, none of them got a chance to do their laundry. But anyway, that's kind of a
Okay.
morbid story. But
Okay.
heck, you know, Trump was shooting people last week, so I figured I could tell a morbid story too. So anyway, Yantis.
Well, we had record turnout in early voting,
We have, yeah.
and that went off pretty much without a glitch.
It has been, yeah. We haven't had huge problems. Of course, every election you're going to have the complaints go along.
Yeah.
That's a given. Minimizing those complaints is your biggest number one goal. As of court this morning at 9 o'clock and during announcements, we had 52% turnout. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I can get those for you off the email.
So when you
but
say
it's
52%, just put it in perspective.
52%. It was 37,000 voters out of the 72.
So 72,000 voters
Registered
or
voters.
registered voters. So that's pretty dang
Yeah,
good.
we're setting records.
Yeah.
But I think everybody is. It's not just us.
It's
It's nationwide.
And I mean, there's such an interest in this race, and you know, at least where we are, it's pretty one-sided for Donald Trump. No big surprise there. You know, we did have a Donald Trump rally that you know, they drove through town a couple of weeks ago. I didn't see.
You mean a parade kind of
Yeah,
thing?
sort of a parade thing.
Yeah.
I didn't see one for Kamala.
Kamala.
Come on. Sorry. You won't let me.
Sorry.
You won't let me use the usurper title. So
Well, I mean, I have this lady from Midland who's an attorney there who's on my case all the time on Twitter or on X. I have to call it X. And So I had to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. Call her Kamala.
There we go. But the Commissioners Court, there's 5 of you.
5 of us.
And-
4
and-
commissioners and the judge.
And this election, there's 2 up for grabs, Precinct 1, Precinct 3, that's Ralph Hosher and Rick Bacon.
Right.
And then the other 3, you and Precinct 2 and Precinct 4, will be with the governor in 2 years.
Correct.
So, right now it looks like the court will be about the same come January 1st. So, I was covering the murder trial last week, and I heard a little bit about courtroom space. So, are y'all? Where is that plan for courtroom space?
Future
Yeah.
courtroom space. We will have the need for a court annex building. Our sheriff's department, our jail, our court system, the whole court system takes up the majority of our budget.
Absolutely.
That is what the county is there for.
Yeah.
As a growing county, we have a.
What about the library?
What about the library?
You're there for the
We're
library?
here for the library.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, yeah.
You saw my holster
Yes.
impersonation. Library and law enforcement.
But the majority of it is the law enforcement court system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are to take care of the citizens in our jail,
Yep.
whether that be going through and getting them completely with papers. And we're going to need a court annex building soon because we're running out of space.
Okay.
So hold on one second.
Yeah, so-
There's still lines at 7?
Yeah,
So
there's still
we're
people
going
in
to be
line.
delayed past 8 o'clock?
So-
Well, what time is it now? It's almost 8 o'clock? So returns, we'll probably look at 8:30? Bandit just came
Okay.
back from a report from the elections office. We're looking at probably the earliest we're going to get Tom Green County election results is 8:30. That means that Danny Cardenas, you're going to have to sit on your hands a little longer.
Well, and that's what I was going back to was the record turnout. I mean, those folks are
Right.
there, they're motivated, they're going to wait in line for as long as it takes to be able to cast a ballot.
Right, and if you're in line, you have to give them the chance to be able to get through that line and cast the ballot. So 8:30 is not unheard of on a presidential election.
No, it's not. Last, we were just talking about it last year, our last presidential election, it went past midnight
Right.
because we had new procedures, probably didn't have enough volunteers, probably had, like that
And I'm
stuff.
going to give kudos to our elections office because Vonna does a heck of a job. I have the pleasure of signing all the papers for the poll judges, poll workers, asking them. We had a lot of people willing to be able to come out and work. So thank you to Vonna, thank you to the elections office, thank you to the judges.
To be able to get
They're
that,
out there
to
working
get those
their tails off.
volunteers is important because if you're a volunteer is really hard to manage.
Right.
Because you're not paying them anything, so
Right.
you have nothing to
Well,
really, you have no levers on them. And if you're a jerk, no one wants to be working around you, right?
That's right. So providing the facilities for them, they're doing a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Keeping that security, the whole integrity of the election is the
Yeah.
goal.
Right.
So, but yes, back to your question. We will have a court annex facility needed in the future, and we are working in our budget every single year. We have about $15 million in a reserved fund right now to put as a down payment, just like a mortgage. You're going to go and have it 20% down. We have no idea why.
How many stories? How many stories?
How many stories?
This building,
3, 2, 3.
Abilene has 5.
Ooh. Well, we're not
Don't you
Abilene.
thi-
We're Tom Green
Oh,
County.
stop. We need to have more, we want taller buildings.
I don't know. We will do what we need.
Right.
We will do what we need.
Always, they were
But
always-
also, it's the security aspect of it. The security aspect of it, along with the technology aspect of it, has changed tremendously in the last years. So that's coming from the attorney side, how the presentations of evidence, what the judges are needing to be able to make the decision with the jury on whether it's going to be charged.
You know, we cover a lot of the courts, and I hear a lot from the judges, the district judges. And one of the problems is that the district judges and the DAs, as the crime gets more prevalent, they feel like they're under scrutiny from people. You know, someone could come get them in a parking lot or something, that kind of thing. So, the security for our district judges is very important.
When John Best had the murder trial, the first Whiskey River murder trial, we went through the steps of, we closed down a couple of those parking lots. That way, whenever
And
those
the county,
jurors-
right near the courthouse, that way you had distance.
we allowed it for the jurors to park into the county clerk's parking lot. That way, they could be escorted out directly to their cars, because there were some threats that they might be followed. There were some intimidating factors during the day, and the last thing you want is jury intimidation. So that whole security aspect of it, they're parking out on the street as a juror, wherever they can. The DAs, they office in the court, the county clerk's office, the annex building across from the Keys. How secure is it for them to walk over to the courthouse? Of course,
I think most importantly is if you can't keep your officers of the court secure, what kind of crime fighting capability do you have as a community?
And then on top of that, it's the same parking lot that the district judges are parking in. So the bailiffs, they escort them out every time they need to. So how can we make that different? How can we build a facility that can make sure that those jurors, DAs, district courts, district judges can get to that facility safely without having
grants?
There might be.
I mean, the federal government can print money, and it's no fair. We want grants.
We're going to explore every avenue that we can, but the biggest thing is to be able to build something without a huge tax impact.
And also, this building becomes an investment. If you look at our county, the historical county courthouse, built in 1931, it's still there. And I know they complain about leaks in the roof and all that kind of stuff, but it's a beautiful building. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is.
Anyway, we have Drew Darby here somewhere. I saw him walking around. All right, we got a Kingman next? Okay. All right. We're going to go to Prop A and San Angelo ISD. Did you vote for Prop A or against Prop A?
Yeah, I cannot release as a judge.
You can't say. He will not commit.
I cannot.
But anyway,
there's certain things, you know what it is. You know, those judicial canons don't allow you to electioneer.
You can't say who can. Anyway, this is County Judge Lane Carter. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, appreciate you.
It's really, I don't know if y'all can hear us. Can y'all hear us very well up here? There are these speakers. We need to get bigger speakers probably. They're good? Okay. Anyway, we're waiting on Dr. Taylor Kingman from the school district to come in.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for coming on. If you're just tuning in from on the internet, on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, this is San Angelo Live. I'm Joe Hyde. I'm the publisher. I'm with, on my far right, that's Yantis Green. He's our senior sage of all things politics in San Angelo, kind of like our Brett Hume. And then in the middle here, I have Dr. Taylor Kingman, who is the board president of the Board of Trustees for the San Angelo Independent School District here in San Angelo, Texas. And we're here to talk about tax increases.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the city and the county here too.
No, we are in city and county. Anyway,
There we go.
So you had the big thing. This is your first stab at getting basically a district-wide referendum done.
Yes.
Proposition A, and Proposition A basically asked voters to allow you to tax them at 3 cents more on your maintenance and operation, and in return, you said we did already lower the tax 3 cents on the bonds, called interest and sinking. So it's kind of like a swap.
It was a swap, but the way the state legislature works is we have to have voter approval for that swap to happen. We don't get to do that locally without the citizens voting and saying, yes, you can do that. So,
But we don't have any of the voter returns in yet.
No.
Of course, I endorsed it.
yes, you did. Thank you.
And a lot of people, we talked to them all the time. I think just about everyone in San Angelo endorsed it. And the primary reason I endorsed it is because whatever tax benefit you got was $90. But the risk was you weren't going to hire the best teachers for Lamar Elementary. These elementary schools are in they defined neighborhoods. I know you don't want to say that because you're closing some of them, but still, even Central High School, if Central High School has terrible teachers or is understaffed, then the value of our property goes down.
We have great teachers at all of our campuses, just to clarify. We have wonderful teachers,
There you go.
and we have teachers that work their butts off to help educate our kids, and we're proud of that.
By the way, the crowd here is getting big at the Arc Light.
Very big, very big.
It's a huge crowd.
But the important thing is we are still competing regionally with teachers. We're competing with Abilene, we're competing with Midland, we're competing with districts outside of Tom Green County for
And
teachers.
also, don't you forgot, you're competing with Odessa Permian.
And Odessa Permian.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're all paying teachers more than we are here in San Angelo. And not only the salary, but also the way the retirement system works for teachers. If we don't get on par and on level with those competing area districts, we're not going to be able to recruit, especially in a teacher shortage.
Right. And so someone could actually go to work for, I'm going to say Odessa or Ector County ISD and make a little bit more money, and also when they retire, take home a little more money in their retirement pay.
Because the top 5 years of their salary is what accumulates for their retirement.
Right.
And so it's a big deal over a 25-year career. And so we have to figure out how to make our teachers competitive, our jobs competitive with those other districts in our region.
So you think it's going to pass?
I do think it's going to. I got to make sure. I think I can legally say anything I want now because the voters are
I mean,
closed.
you're an American. You can say whatever you want.
I do think it's going to pass. I've had a lot of. I see 100 people a week through the doors of my office, and the number of people who have come up to me and said, "Hey, Doc, we're going to vote for this for you," and some folks who look at me like, I don't vote yes on any tax increase, but Doc, I'm going to vote for this. I think it's right for the kids. And there's been a lot of those. And so I'm very hopeful. I think our team has done a great job of getting the facts out to people. And I think the fact that we've been able to pass a balanced budget and also tell people, look, we're going to give you these 3 cents back from another pocket and not actually raise the taxes, but able to unlock these dollars, these state dollars, and give them. I think people in San Angelo like that. They understand a good deal when they see one.
Right. Well, we were talking. Yantis and I were talking about how arcane the wording is and the lingo of school district finance, where you have golden pennies, you have copper pennies, you have acetar, you have compression. I mean, why call it compression? Why don't they just call it, we're going to lower your tax rate?
Yeah, well, they do say that too. But yes, it is. I think they call it compression because they make up the difference from the state side.
Right.
Well, from my perspective, watching the legislature for decades, one of the most powerful lobbying groups in Austin is the TASB and TASA, the lobbying group.
And that's the Texas Association of School Boards
and School Administrators. And they go back and forth primarily with the state reps out of Harris County. But Houston ISD, largest school district in the state, sort of wags the tail, whatever.
Not right now. It's taken over by the state.
Exactly. and this comes about, when 100 years ago, when I was on the school board, there was this deal called Robin Hood.
Right.
And Robin Hood was taking money from rich school districts to give to poor school districts.
So basically, Crane ISD financed all of us.
And it was, the state really didn't get involved, and then they figured out there was money that the legislature didn't have their hands in, so they said, oh, no, we've got to do this. We can do this better and get a hold of the money at the state level. So then we go into George Bush gets elected governor, and we get Nickelby.
Right.
Nickelby, No Child Left Behind.
Yes.
And then that evolves after he leaves into.
But all this time, most people are not paying that much attention. They're going, what are these acronyms and crazy stuff that you're talking about? But today, I would argue, because there's so little trust in our institutions, when you start bringing out that lingo, what the heck is that?
Yeah. And my point being that state funding is a moving target.
Yeah, it is a moving target, and I think everyone, I guess 70% of districts in the state are expecting the state legislature to come through and bail them out because they're all adopting deficit budgets.
Right. Right.
But do I need to talk to that? Okay. But the reality is, there is a lot of distrust in any entity, whether it's your school board, your city, your county, your state, whatever. And the reality is, but for us to be successful as a community, we have to figure out how to support children in San Angelo.
Right.
And SAISD is in the business of trying to figure out how to support kids in San Angelo and get them to where we need to be. And that's going to be CTE. That's going to be some college programs. That's going to be dual credit. That's going to be everything. But it's not just going to be one size fits all. But we have to do that locally. We have to create jobs for people locally, and we have to prepare people for jobs locally.
We're about to find out if Prop A passed.
Oh,
Numbers are in, and Banda and Paul Harris is there at the courthouse, or at the Ed B. Keys building at the elections office, and you just texted the results over. If you watch the man in the beard back there, he's quickly entering them into the computer, and they will magically appear on the largest video wall in San Angelo, Texas, here at the ArcLight Bar and Grill. I think it's coming. Maybe. You don't have them yet? You say you got them? All right. Well, we're going to wait. And
You don't just have them and you're not telling me, right?
No, I have no idea. I've been sitting up here thinking about how do you pronounce it, acetar. Anyway, what's next for San Angelo ISD? Are you going to? I mean, you've had to close 2 elementary schools, or combine 4 of them.
So we've consolidated elementary schools, and the reality is the average elementary school in the state is 650, 700 kids, and we have 350-person elementary schools, but we're funded based on having an average elementary school. Mm-hmm. And so we are having to look at how to make sure that our local community and what we want as a local community matches up with our funding, and we have to decide what our local community is willing to pay for as far as keeping our local neighborhood schools versus consolidating and making the program a little bit more efficient. But efficiency is one thing, but it's really giving kids more opportunities. If we can create spots where our CTE can be more effective, if we can create spots where teachers are collaborating with other reading teachers instead of having just 2 third grade reading teachers on a campus, having 4 or 5, that's better. That collaboration is good because we do have a lot of younger teachers coming. We have teachers that are coming from alternative certifications, and so we need to make sure that we're creating a situation where they want to stay in our district and feel supported in our district.
So what are you going to do with the old buildings? Are you still going to use them, or you think eventually you'll?
So, I mean, it depends on the building. I mean, Alta Loma, we are using some of the newer buildings we've moved our servers and technology over to those buildings, but some of the older buildings we're going to demolish because and hopefully create some space where kids can throw a football and kick a soccer ball and hit a baseball.
Or you could sell the land and lower our tax rate.
As long as we sell it to someone who pays taxes.
That's right. Where is the construction as far as McGill and Fannin? Where are they right now?
So Fannin is finished as far as, except punch list. I mean, we're using the space. Okay. There is some landscaping that is still not finished. There was some, ADA sidewalks that needed to be done, things like there's always the punch list of it, but Fannin's there. Yeah. McGill, we are still on track to be in the full space next semester. So we hope to get the keys, December, and have a month even if we get it December 15th, we're not going to move kids for the last 5 days. We're going to use the Christmas break and have everything ready for the teachers and the students come January.
And the playground equipment went up at McGill when the fence came down in the last couple of weeks. It's neat to drive by there and see the progress.
And what's great about both of those projects, we were able to do those projects with ESSER funds. So without raising anyone's taxes, without a bond, we were able to create new spaces that are state of the art and efficient. Now they're still additions to existing spaces, and there's going to be older spaces on both of those campuses that still need work.
I think that's an important thing to say, because the system that the state's built for school districts is designed around going into debt to build buildings.
Yeah. So the way school districts build schools is bonds,
right?
Is going into debt. That is the only way. And if you look at what our bond rate, our debt rate is, I think was 9 cents.
Right.
Even in our local community, most schools are at 26 cents.
Right.
23, 26 cents.
So the big question there, Taylor, is when are you going to build a third high school?
What we're going to do is evaluate what is best what I think is important and what I think San Angelo needs and what we've tried to do, but with failed bonds in the past.
Well,
and
stop
things.
right there. If we build another high school, we can have like a 3A and 2 4A, and we'll start winning football games.
What we need to do is come up with a 10-year plan for the district that works regardless of what the district's growth does,
Right.
regardless of an interstate coming in, regardless of, we need to have a 10-year plan so that then we can go tell people, hey, this is our 3-year plan. We need to do this in the next 3 years. Can you and will you get on board for that? But we also need to tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do 5, 10 years down the road, because that's how this community is built. Like we like to, like we were discussing a second, go out there and say, hey, this is what our plan is. This is how we're going to make San Angelo ISD the destination district in West Texas.
And the deal is, when people in San Angelo are conservative, they don't want to spend money on anything. I mean, it's really hard to convince people to willingly and joyfully give up their money with tax increases. So we have something coming up here. I got pointing at the side. Oh, we got the early numbers in. Why don't we switch on over that real quick? The early numbers. This is Tom Green County election only, and it looks like Donald Trump is taking the county with 74%. To Kamala Harris, that's what, 23%, 25%? And then we got the Libertarians and Jill Stein gunking up the system. But anyway, Donald Trump is 74% here in Tom Green County. Let's go to the next race. Ted Cruz, same thing. Looks like Ted Cruz, even though we talked about Yantis, that Ted wasn't that likable or wasn't as likable as Trump maybe, that he would underperform Trump. But here in Tom Green County, he's doing the same numbers.
Well, I think this is a direct result of the angst across the country right now between the far right and the far left, and the far right in this part of the state is voting in big numbers.
All right, let's go to the next race. This is Railroad Commissioner. We don't have any numbers in yet. Do I need to stop right there? Y'all still getting them in? All right, let's go ahead and get back to James. It looks like we don't have any more yet. But anyway, Donald Trump is getting 74% of the vote here in Tom Green County, which is awesome if you're if you're a Donald Trump guy.
Do you know what he got in the county last time?
I think it's about 76%. Yeah, I don't remember the exact number. I do know this: Odessa, Midland, Lubbock, Amarillo voted in higher numbers for Trump than Tom Green County. And the deal is, we have too many artists here. We need to kick the artists out. That's what happened. Can we go back to the video screen? I don't know what you are doing, unless you want to refresh it and see if we can pull more numbers in. Do that real quick. Keep going. No, we don't have any more numbers in.
Yeah.
We'll get the numbers up in a little bit. Anyway, so if you missed it, and we're about to flip back to the video. We're on the video. When we keep rapping, I'm sitting here talking. Am I on the video? I am. We're with Taylor Kingman. He's a doctor, Shannon doctor. What kind of doctor are you? Aren't you?
I'm a urologist. Urologist. Kidneys, prostates, kidney stones.
You know, my wife gave away a kidney once.
To someone she liked?
I don't know. She's over there. She's nodding yes.
She did. Well, good. God gave you 2. It's good to keep 2 if you can, but it's also nice to give a second one if you can. Worked out well.
But you spoke at Rotary the other day.
So we're 60-40.
There you go. All right. So it looks like 4 Prop A is winning 60-40. And that's with some early voting in, all your mail-ins and some early voting.
That should be all the early voting and mail-in.
Oh, is it going to be all of the other? Yeah. 25,000 early voting. And then we'll get the election day totals in. So unless there was a great movement against Prop A, looks like you got it.
Yeah, that's great. That's good for teachers in San Angelo. It's good for maintenance workers, custodians. It's good for everybody to make sure that we're able to recruit and keep people. And it also allows us to subsidize, not take other spots in our budget to have police officers on every campus.
So you won't have to drive the yellow dog to Amarillo.
I was working on getting my CDL, but but no, I think I'll be okay. We'll be able to get some bus drivers, so it's good.
That's good. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your endorsement of it.
It was hard fought, and also the other thing is that needs to be repeated over and over again. Is your budget actually even with adding the 3 cents for M&O, with the swap, your budget at 81 cents comes under the no new revenue rate, which I know the Texas legislature helps you a little bit there, but that's still commendable because you could have, done some tricks and gotten above, actually made a tax increase, but you didn't. You kept a very conservative budget.
We worked very hard as a board and administrative team to make sure that we could offer the citizens of San Angelo a budget that was balanced and a budget that didn't raise the tax rate.
All right.
So.
Well, Mr. Taylor Kingman, we're 4 minutes over our time. I noticed that Mayor Brenda Gunner's in the office. And she don't want to come up? Are you that retired now? She's worked all day. I don't know where Drew Darby went. Did he?
We switched spots. He was going to come after me.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, we'll keep talking until Drew Darby comes in. What do you think?
I'll do whatever you ask.
All right. So,
Mr. Thompson wants to come back up. He said.
So, who's going to win, Trump or Kamala?
So at 11 o'clock this morning, I was like, we got it for sure.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock, I was like, I don't know. Now I'm back. I think Trump's got it.
You think Trump's got it?
I think Trump's got it.
What was the information that you saw before you hopped here on the stage that made you think Trump has it?
My youngest son has picked the Aggies correctly all year, and he thinks Trump's going to win.
Picking the Aggies correctly any time since, I don't know, Francione is, that requires a PhD.
He's had it right. He did only think we were going to lose by 10 this week against South Carolina, but he was close until the last fumble.
Oh. So does he think we're going to beat, does he think the Aggies are going to beat TU?
He thinks the Aggies are going 2-0, or 3-0, whatever, however many games left.
Really?
New Mexico and Texas, yeah. And Auburn, right? We have
Yeah.
three. He thinks they're going to win 3 more games.
3 more games.
He's a little bit worried about Georgia.
So was he worried about Prop A?
No one in my house was allowed to say that we were not going to pass Prop A.
That's funny.
We all positive vibes the whole way.
All right. Well, it looks like Ted Cruz is going to win Yantis.
Yep.
Isn't that good?
That was, it was never.
Oh, come on.
Doubt.
You were a
There was
little bit
never a
worried
doubt.
every once in a while. You were a little bit worried.
No, not that race. I was never worried about Ted Cruz.
Never?
No.
Never?
No. Even with the cities, the largest cities in the state being blue, being
Right.
largely Democrat, Austin, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and El Paso, they still lose the state because rural Texans show up and vote en masse. We are much more dependable to vote.
Right.
And Colin Allred is not a Beto O'Rourke, who is an exciting.
Colin Allred was
candidate.
not charismatic at all, in my
He's
opinion.
not enough, and Ted Cruz beat the charismatic guy.
Yeah.
So this was not even as big a challenge.
The only thing that made me concerned, leading up to today, was the amount of money that Colin Allred was spending. But I also know that marketing today isn't buying TV airwaves. So,
Yes,
it
that's
doesn't,
right.
and that's your most expensive thing. It doesn't reach as many people as it did in 2001.
Well, and that's what I was talking about earlier with Danny Cardenas, in that it is a social media campaign world now. Mm-hmm. And you have got to have a live and interactive presence on social media to win close races, local, state, or national. You just have
Right.
to.
Well, and it's so targeted. Even on San Angelo Live, if you live in a certain district, you can get ads that show up in a certain region, right? It's
It's all.
it's so technical
The
nowadays.
magic of AI is.
AI.
Yeah. Well,
I had a. This is not politically related, but I was asked to be an advisor for some venture capitalist going to buy into this advertising company, and so they paid me $500 to talk to them on the phone for like 2 hours, right? And so the whole thing is they keep trying to lead me to this trough, but that was AI, wasn't it? That was AI, wasn't it? I said, no, it wasn't AI. No, it wasn't AI. But I think they still invested in the company. But everyone makes AI a pitch. You could be selling like laundry detergent and say with AI, right? That's what everyone does. Create it with AI. But anyway, it's getting long in the night. Well, let's take a break, and then we'll come back with Drew Darby. Why don't we do that?
That'll work. We
All
can,
right.
and then we'll have updated.
We'll have more
results
updated
locally.
stuff. And before we go, this is San Angelo Live. We're broadcasting live from the ArcLight Bar and Grill, 441 Rio Concho, inside the beautiful, wonderful Clarion Hotel, which is downtown San Angelo, right here across the road from the Concho River, 441 Rio Concho. And we'll be here until they decide if Trump's going to be president or not, or 2 a.m., whichever one comes first. We'll be coming in and out on Facebook, X, and YouTube. You can watch us there. I'm Joe Hyde.
I'm Yantis Green.
And we're with Dr. Taylor Kingman, who is he's the board president of the Board of Trustees, San Angelo Independent School District. Congratulations on getting Prop A passed today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll see y'all back in a little bit.